if we proactively invested in ourselves.
Right, you've done the work ahead of time.
You've done the work ahead of time. You made sure you are a healthy leader when you walk through the door. You've been proactive, so now you can respond versus react. Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners, and I'm joined as always by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal, who, by the way, is phenomenal at opening these shows. I just want to make that clear for everybody, including her. Emily Grace Deal, how are we kicking this off today? What are we talking about?
We had somebody write in
Okay.
To ask our opinion on the difference between a proactive leader and a reactive leader.
Okay.
Which is potentially more successful.
Yes. So I think the proactive versus reactive, it's pretty easy to look at reactive and go, well, there's no way that's better. But I think it's understanding how they're better or worse. And that starts with understanding most of leadership from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed is unexpected challenges.
Yep.
And we always talk about the difference between responding and reacting. And I think how we approach those things, like when that challenge pops up, if I'm reactive, I'm just like, let's make a quick decision, let's make a quick call, let's go, let's move.
Right.
That's usually a sign that I'm a little bit overwhelmed, probably a little bit burned out, and that I didn't really have any margin to deal with these challenges.
Right. That quicker thought is not always the best thought.
Right. It's not saying moving fast is bad, but it can be damaging sometimes if we don't take the proper time to think through things. Doesn't mean we overthink. It doesn't mean we go, oh, there's a problem. Let's think about this for 7 days. And
yes.
then we'll
we also
solve
don't need to avoid making
right.
decisions.
It's the appropriate amount, but taking that appropriate time is really hard. And I think when we don't, that is reactive.
Gotcha.
Responsiveness is ultimately about taking the appropriate time to think about something and understand it, and then choose the decision, right? What direction are we going to move? And that really happens best when we've been proactive. Because when we're proactive, we're establishing a couple things. One, I think we're establishing how we're going to show up. Like, how are we going to show up as a leader to deal with these problems? If we proactively invested in ourselves.
Right, you've done the work ahead of time.
You've done the work ahead of time. You made sure you are a healthy leader when you walk through the door. You've been proactive, so now you can respond versus react.
Right.
When we show up as unhealthy or average, we're very much in reaction mode, right? We're already stressed out. We're already
It's
tired.
our natural, instinct.
I think our natural instinct is to be very reactive. But the response, that really requires some slowing down.
Well, because the big distinction between the two really is that pause, right?
Yes,
the pause
really is
between.
the pause.
And
Yes.
if you are in a mode where you're just your average self, you're not taking the time to pause, to be more self-aware, to think about how you're perceived, to be a healthy enough person to respond in the right way.
Absolutely. And so I think the proactive really is, have we proactively established our health to show up and lead in a healthy way to be able to respond? You're absolutely right. Versus the react. I think the other side of it is proactively, are we creating margin? Can we acknowledge our day is going to be endless challenges? And if we just book the day, Emily sitting over here who's in charge of my schedule, she's really good about making sure from 8 to 5, it is not meeting. Because when it is, there is no room in there to respond to challenges. There's no margin. And so we've had to be really, really intentional about that. And so I think really understanding that you have to be proactive to avoid being reactive.
Right.
And again, responding is giving it the appropriate amount of time, which can sometimes be really fast, right? If it is the building is literally on fire, responding to that means call 911, get some water, let's get moving, let's get people out of the building, right?
Right.
That can look a lot like reactive, but if it's coming from a place of health, it's going to go better.
You've prepared for it. You've thought it
You're
through.
less
You're in a
panicky,
good
you're
spot to handle it.
Exactly. That makes a big difference. So creating that margin to know things are going to go wrong.
Yeah, those are the uncontrollable
really matters.
circumstances we talk about sometimes.
Yes, that drag us down into burnout.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is to help equip your team to deal with challenges. I think we can get trapped in all the challenges are on my shoulders or on the leader's shoulders.
Yes.
When that happens again, I think that contributes to burnout, contributes to the weight of the boulder we're shoving up a hill. I think that leads to more reactive.
Well, because you also can't really be proactive of a leader if you have all of the problems to deal with, right?
Yes.
Because you can't be proactive about all of the things.
That's it. You don't have the ability or the time or the margin to be proactive to create more margin. margin. Because if you're standing there and you have both hands on that boulder and you are just holding it up, trying to keep it from rolling back over, there is no ability to stop and respond appropriately to things.
Right.
There is just, get this off my plate so the boulder's just a little bit lighter as fast as possible.
Yeah, if you don't have the wiggle room to add any margin,
Yes.
then it's not going to work, and you need more people.
Yeah, ultimately you're going to need people to help you out, and that requires saying, I need help. And so really this is about how can you be proactive enough to enable you to respond and not react.
Yeah.
That's the hard piece of this.
That makes sense.
Leaders, let's talk next steps. If you find yourself in reactive mode all the time, it's a sign you need to be more proactive. You need to establish better rhythms to establish the person that's going to show up and do your job. Like when you show up in the morning, which version of you is there to lead? Are you a healthy leader? Are you oriented towards health, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, ready to deal with the challenges? So that's the first place you need to be proactive, is in determining how you're going to show up. And the second place is creating margin. If you can proactively create margin, then when a problem pops up, there's already a space for it to fit, and you can respond to it appropriately. You can give it the appropriate amount of thought and really look at it strategically and figure it out long term. How is this going to matter? And then act, versus just snapping a decision out just to get it going, to get it off your plate. And so ultimately being proactive allows you to respond instead of react. That's going to create steadiness for you. That's going to create steadiness for your team. Ultimately, it's going to create a healthier team if you can learn to be proactive. Emily, if people want to send us questions and topics just like this, where do they send that to?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us online, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, putting out content all the time about leadership. Where do they find that?
@forwardpartner.
@forwardpartner. Emily, thank you for co-hosting.
Thank you.
John, Porchlight Productions, thank you for producing. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please share the show with fellow leaders who could benefit from these conversations. Our goal is to spread this impact and make sure we are having a massive impact for leaders all over the place, and you are a big piece of that journey. So please share this with others. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.